Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tim Gillette, and we're back with another Tim Gillette show. I'm your host, Tim Gillette. As you know, I've said my name enough times. It's not about me today. I got to tell you guys, this show is not about me. It is about the coolest people on the planet. Today's guest is a returning guest, someone who has not only done things, but tweaked it during the pandemic and is doing it again. So I'm happy to have Jackie Lapin back on our show. All right. Gotten to know Jackie a little bit better through the pandemic, other than we used to see each other here and there, and we were always busy at events and never got to see each other. And now we get to talk to each other on camera a lot, I guess. So let's bring Jackie in here and see how she's doing. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Tim. So delighted to be here.
Well, welcome back.
Well, I'm thrilled that you are doing something a little bit new so that we can kind of continue serving folks.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to me, the biggest thing I had to learn about the pandemic, I did live streaming, I did shows, I did all that stuff before it, but I had to tweak what I was doing and refine it because now everybody was going to try it. And if I didn't stand out, I was just going to be another blip in the crowd, and that's what I had to learn during the pandemic. What is it that you learned during the pandemic and put into your business?
Well, one of the things personally for me is that I used to do 30 events a year, and I am so thrilled that I don't anymore. I can do them, but I can do them from my desk and no more travel, no more wear and tear on my body. And I can still deliver my messages and get people to know that we have resources so they can do just exactly what I'm doing. They can get out on speaking platforms without ever leaving their home and office and introduce people to their resources. So for me, it was really wonderfully transformational because I was really looking to get off the road, but probably would never have done it without the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And so it's made life a lot easier for me and allowed us to talk to lots and lots more people rather than 30, 40, 100 in a room. I get to talk to, people all day long on different groups.
Well, now are you noticing though? I mean, when we used to go to rooms, all right, and this, I know this happened with you and me a ton. It's like, hey, we need to talk. And then we'd get so busy talking to everybody else, we'd never get back to each other. Now you have a way to go, hey, by the way, click this link so we can talk.
Absolutely. And, my schedule link is packed with meetings day in and day out. And of course, I love giving away things free and getting people into my opt-in list. But more importantly, I'm telling people about the resources that are going to transform their lives. And that really is my joy. It's how can I support people so they can move more forwardly into the world, get more clients, change more lives, get on more stages. And that's just the big answer. Get on more stages and you can really transform your business.
Now, I don't know if I asked you this the last time you were on, but you know my coach, Craig. And Craig has always been, I'm going to be live events type person. Were you all hung up on live events until the pandemic, or were you looking to get do online or versus live?
Well, I'd always had my meetings on Zoom already, so I was very accustomed to that. But I didn't think that the world would let me give up those events. It wasn't so much me, but that was where I had to go to find my audiences of leaders and experts and authors and entrepreneurs and coaches that want to get on more stages. I had to go to their events. Mm-hmm. But now, because of the fact that they have all aggregated here online, it's just made it a whole lot easier. And so, when we one of the things that happened in the pandemic for us, two things happened actually. We had been building regional speaker lead directories, which I'll come back to in a minute, but nobody wanted them at a time when there were no meetings going on. So we shifted onto our other product, which is our radio podcast tours, where we introduce authors to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts at the same time with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. And we serve anybody whose work improves one's life, one's business, or the planet. Now, that, because of the pandemic, that business took off like crazy because we were telling people there's no better time to be online talking to people's podcasts and radio shows because people are sitting at home with nothing to do.
Exactly.
So, and then on top of that, a lot of those people who were sitting at home thinking, well, what do I do with this time? Oh, I'll write the book I've been thinking about for
Yes.
5, 10 years.
Yeah.
So now we're having a record year with radio podcast tours. But then what we decided to do was use that period to kind of behind the scenes start building at Speakertunity.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
first thing we did was we decided to take those small number of regional directories and really start building them. We, as I am excited to announce, we have 75 regional speaker lead directors under our Speakertunity Cities banner. So
Wow.
now people can, wherever they are. Now, keep in mind, this is virtual and live speaking. So some of those meetings are coming back, but many of them are still remaining virtual. But locals love to book locals. And so really, if you want to saturate your market, we've got up to 2,000 speaker leads in any one market just for you in 4 categories: business, which you can subdivide it into 55 industries, ethnicities, and gender. Then we have all the places that you go to: service groups, your Rotaries, your Soroptimists in Canada, your King Clubs. And then in the next category is all the places you touch the consumer: moms groups, parenting, seniors, health and wellness support groups, people that are suffering from something, and then military and LGBT, and bookstores, libraries, and hospitals. And the last category are spiritual: unity, centers for spiritual living, and faith-based. You can cover that in all your market. Then halfway through the pandemic, we realized, well, you know what? What if people just don't want to have all of those? They just want one specialty. Well, we can repurpose that data, that information. So now we have speaker leads for people just in their niche. So
Yeah,
let's say
yeah.
that you want to talk to coaches or authors or women's business meetings or entrepreneurs all across North America. We have all the meetings, venues, and associations with the contacts. So you can just reach out to them and get booked. So we really started to build that out. We added a radio insider for business. Now, if you want 40 podcasts and radio shows every month that you're looking for business, just B2B shows, we've done that. And we added, a bunch of other products. And then we thought, a lot of the reasons that people aren't doing this today is they think, I don't have any time.
Yeah.
So we developed a strategic partnership with a group called Book For You Virtual Assistants. And Book For You VAs will take our directories. You give them our directories once you purchase it, and they will go after them for you. Or even our subscription services, our podcasts, our summits, our speaker lead services. Hand it off to them, and they'll go do it for you. So what I decided to do in the pandemic was really rebrand Speakertunity as a speaker and leader resource company, and make it the ultimate speaker toolbox. Everything you need in the speaker realm will be there. The one thing we haven't got yet are conferences and calls for speakers on big events. We'll have that next year. But everything that you need will be in this one place, all done, one and done. So for me, the pandemic was a period of building, incubation, creative explosion. Yeah. And so that's really where we went from and where we are now. So I encourage people to take a look at Speakertunity Cities and Speakertunity Speaker Specialties, where the niche directories are, and get your directories. Get out there. You need to be out on stages because, these virtual opportunities are not going away. Some of these people are just going to stay there, and they are not going back to live events. So take advantage of it.
Now, Jackie, are you looking to work with like different coaches to tell people, okay, this is a little bit better on how to make your pitch? I mean, I know you've got you're providing them with all the list and opportunities, but you working with a coach group to go, hey, Jackie, don't put your name in everything. Let's pick the ones that we know we can get you booked on, as opposed to let's hit everybody. Are you?
Well, we do a little of that, but we also have training programs.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got one on how to book yourself for speaking engagements, one on how to book yourself for radio and podcast. And here's the one I really like. This is the news thing that we actually haven't announced to the world, but it's open and available, and how to get booked in the corporate marketplace.
Oh, wow.
This is a really valuable resource because it's going to give you everything you know in order to get on and get in those doors. So we've developed all of those, and we're talking about doing some other kinds of things next year that might be more one-on-one. But for now, that's really the way. But we do partner with a lot of speaker trainers and what I call book whisperers, somebody that helps people in the chain of getting their book done. platform builders, people to teach people how to create a business where they get to speak about what they're passionate about and sell something that will help people come into their world. All of those kinds of things are exciting, and those partnerships are really what help us grow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's it, partnership. Because I know you reached out to me and said, Tim, you have events, right? And I'm like, yes, Jackie, I do. By all means, send me what you got. We book 125 speakers a year, I think it is, or no, 80 speakers a year and 125 podcast guests a year. So It's like, we're always looking, and, but we have qualifications. And I'll tell you, I've had more agencies reach out to me because I made that public. And these agencies are trying to book somebody that really doesn't belong on my show. Now I got a pretty broad topic show to be not qualified to just throw anybody at it. But the speakers for my events, I've got people who want to share, how to smile more. I'm like, I'm sorry, that doesn't help people market their business online. All right. How to be happy. I'm sorry. It's just not our topic. And I'm like, these agencies, I'm like, it turns me off to them, because they don't have their categories down like you do,
Thank you. Well, and that's when we stipulated that we wanted to do, Speakertunity, the two radio, our Speakertunity Radio and Speakertunity Radio Insider for Business, we realized that, we weren't serving those people who wanted business, and the other people all wanted life-enhancing radio shows.
Yeah.
Everything in podcasts, everything in that sequence. So we made it easy for people just to pick which was right for them. But, I don't want people who are in the life enhancing going after the business. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not. Yep.
So
I'm glad you divided it, because I'm going to tell you, I've dealt with a couple other agencies over the past years that really are not doing what you're doing. And it's like, and then they get mad at me when they're like, well, no, you don't do this, but I'm going to use your name to make them understand. But then they get mad at me and they go back and say, well, Jackie said to do this. Well, then I go back to the person and going, who's sending me this stuff? Right. Yeah. And that's it. They're not getting down and guiding down. And it's like, as business grows, things are going to change. All right. And you better learn to adapt. I like how you learn to adapt. You learn to adapt and found ways to fit the right people in the right places. Now, I've gotten a couple of good people from you that are just phenomenal, that I was blown away when I interviewed them. I mean, I was blown away going, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But
thank you.
Yeah. Where did you come up with the idea to separate yourself from the competition like this? You're miles past them right now.
Well, first of all, I'm a right brain, left brain. Yeah. I have both. So I'm a data freak. So I'm always collecting data and putting it all in the same place. My father used to say, everything has its place and everything in its place. And that's how I live my life. I'm the world's most organized human being. But when I started building data, that's all started really when I started to market my own two books. I have two books in personal growth. One was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show, Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Manifest Your Desires. When I was marketing my own books, I thought, I'm going to build, and this was way early, before podcasts, when we were talking about, all of a sudden, internet radio started to come along. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I'm having been a publicist for 35 years at that point. I had the database of regular radio shows, but I said, I'm going to go get the ones that are in internet radio. So I was the first person to build that list. Then I used it for my own books. I did 100 interviews on my last book. And I thought to myself, if somebody else can use this, if I can use this, somebody else can use this. So that's when we started doing the radio podcast tours, that we could basically take advantage of that list that we had. And so, of course, we built it into podcasts, and, it's massive now at this point, 9,000, as I said. So, but from there, what happened was our clients started to say to us, can you book me for speaking gigs? Can you book me for speaking gigs? I'm going, I don't want to do that, but I know where they are.
Yeah.
Again, being the data freak that I am, I collected a ton of information, and I knew this market was underserved. The people who are keynoters, who get paid to spin on speaking stages, and by the way, there are less of those around today too, because everybody's saying, well, I can get you virtually. Why should I pay you? Yeah. So there were all these keynoters. That's not my marketplace. My marketplace is the entrepreneurial speaker, or somebody who's an emerging speaker that's trying to get out and get on more stages. And there was nothing for them. And I am a believer. I follow the universe's breadcrumbs. So when you clearly see there is a need where we can fill this hole, that's where it started. So we started with the one Speakertunity speaker leads then added radio shows and podcasts, then added virtual summits. And then we realized that some of the people were saying to us about our first product, that really is for a transformational leader. I need more business. I need more stuff local. Well, out of that came Speakertunity Cities regional directories. And then, and so everything's an evolution. Oh, we have TEDx directories because people said,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
do you have any TEDx's? Sure. So the TEDx website is a monster to deal with. So we went on there and we data mine for everything on the TEDx website twice a year. So you can come in and, you get the newest version in June and the next new one in December. And it'll give you anywhere from 300 to 500 TEDx's that are to tell you not only what date they're on, but what the contact person is and where is it physically. So you can look at, I can drive to that one. I can drive to that one. I can drive to that one. So we've got it sorted by date or in a state or in Canada provinces. So, hey, you can make some educated decisions by looking at this directory. So as I say, everything another one that came up from the pandemic was we realized that there was all this virtual networking going on. Yeah, and if you believe that that's a great way to prospect for new clients or sell a book, well, where were they all? So we put them all into a directory where we have 200 of them with 50 just for women. And I constantly update it as there's new things. So if you come in and you get it, about every 3 months, I'm going to update it with the newest ones I found. And so that became another opportunity based on what the pandemic brought us. So I'm always looking ahead, trying to see what's going on. So for me, the process is, here's a download. Something's coming in here that people are looking for, people can need. And I happen to be able to pull this together. Mm-hmm. I mean, I not me personally, thank God, I have a team of 9 in the Philippines that does all my data, but they do it based on my direction. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And we organize. We actually track 2,500 national organizations to find out where that all have local chapters. So we go into a market, we figure out, okay, let's look at these 2,500, see if they have a local chapter, and then find the organic ones just to that market. So it's a process. I'm a big process person. Create the process, hand it off, and let somebody else do it.
What a great idea, Have you found some flaws or something that really bugged you during the pandemic? We all find flaws in our business, but usually it's the ones that get underneath our skin that we go, okay, you get up in the middle of the night and fix it because you don't want to go to bed until it's fixed. Yeah.
Well, for me, the biggest challenge is that I'm really on this Zoom from somewhere between 8 in the morning until 5 at night. And there's not much of a let up unless I actually block time in my schedule to have a writing day or a product development day or something like that. So that's really been a bit more challenging for me. It has vastly increased the number of people that I'm coming in contact with, but I can't do it all anymore. In fact, I brought on a right hand, Kelly O'Hara, who is my alter ego, as I call her, because I just couldn't go to all the meetings anymore. I just couldn't go to all the virtual networking. So I'm really very fortunate in that I have now an alternate person that can go to a lot of the stuff, and it frees me up to do some of the more hand-holding things I need to do.
Speaking about that, I actually enacted something in my business that I through the pandemic, I figured this out, was like my coaching calls with my clients. I have like 2 group calls a week on Monday and Wednesday. And I took the hour before both those calls and I blocked it on my calendar. Nobody can book those spots, no matter what. And you know what? Half the time I'm not in the office for them. I walk out and I take me time. That I had to learn that during the pandemic because I would get stuck at this desk and not leave and get frustrated by it, and I'm sure you got speakers who are doing the same thing. They're going, well, I gotta be working all the time. Like, no, maybe you need to take a break.
I have what I call my sacred Sundays. Sacred Sundays are to sit in the backyard, listen to the waterfalls, enjoy the nature. I got lots of wildlife around me. And read historic novels. That's my escape. I just go into my historic novels and disappear for a day.
my wife and I, we get caught up in like TV shows. Like our Saturdays or Sundays are TV shows. It's like Saturday mornings, like the cooking shows she wants to watch. And then we would get hooked up on like Law and Order. And finally, we were so serious in our life, Jackie, that we were like, we need something funny. We put on Parks and Rec again.
Oh, great.
I mean, if you ever watch that show, it's like, and we binge watch it. You know what I mean? We'll be done with the whole series in 4 weeks,
That sounds like fun.
But yeah, it's balanced because so many people are not doing it. And one of our comments that came in here is, we need to do some fun Zooms.
Yeah.
I did when the pandemic first started. I did a Zoom networking thing that was just called Happy Hour. You bring a drink and come hang out. There's no agenda. There's no meeting. And like I had people like Larry Broughton stopping by on a regular basis just to stop by and hang out with us, and I never thought about that as an event, but I probably got more connections out of that event than I did with me trying to be serious on camera.
Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I would occasionally drop in on happy hour, just, now and then for organizations that I belong to too, just to, recontact the people that I've been missing all of last year.
Yeah.
I've actually been to two events actually since things have started to open up. But the last one I went to, they COVID tested everybody on site.
Wow.
To make sure that we were all okay and we could unmask. And that was really great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and they're going to find innovative ways as we go through, because this is not something that's going away, in my opinion. All right. But we got to find ways to work around it. And, the networking things, and I'm finding some of these like live events. I went to see, I don't know if you know Paul Fink. Do you know Paul Fink from Maverick Millionaire? I think you know Paul very well. Paul was doing an event here like 6 miles from my house this weekend. And after I got done doing all my virtual events, I called my mom because mom knows him as well. Picked up my mom and we went over to Paul's event while he was having lunch. Right. And basically, you know what I mean? I call him and I said, tell me, because I know Paul, tell me your hotel room. I know where he's at in his lunch break. Tell me your hotel room. Why? And I knock on the door, and his wife, Deb, opens the door. Big old hug. I'm so glad to see you in person, Yep.
I'm actually throwing my birthday party in December, but I'm doing it in 2 parts.
Yeah.
On the Sunday before is going to be my live party for those who wish to come. And the Sunday after is going to be my virtual party for those who cannot or choose not to come. Okay. I'm not discriminating. I'm letting everybody come and celebrate with me.
That's cool. I never thought about that for a birthday party type event. Well, I want to go back to something you talked a little about the networking. And I'm sure I think you have a paper, a PDF paper or something on this, because there's so many people doing the networking right now. I've seen people with virtual networking screwing that up worse than they screwed up live networking. And then I've seen people really getting people engaged in a networking meeting and having purpose behind it.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that like you've seen them too. All right. You've seen the good, everything out there's got a good or a bad. There's always going to be one guy that's going to be the oddball in the group. Usually it's me, but what are you doing with the PDF and stuff? Or do you have a PDF that basically says, here's a great way to run your groups, guys, to make the most out of it?
I don't really do that from the standpoint of the coordinator. What I really do is address the person who is participating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I give them some guidance on really what you should be doing, because there's a good way and a bad way to do it. You just don't show up and speak. You make sure that when you're putting things in the chat box, you're putting in specific things, not just, your name and maybe an email and how to get a hold of you. But you want to put a freebie in there. You want to give something away so it encourages people. I do 2 things. I always give a freebie away, but I also have a Facebook group that's called Facebook Changemaker Collaboration Circle. Mm-hmm. And Changemaker Collaboration Circle brings everybody in our industry of service to the world in one place where they can cross promote, support each other, tell us what their new books, their new programs, their podcasts, whatever they're doing. And it has 35 different, threads a week. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the financial business or in your women's service business or in your pets or, you're in tech, you get to put in whatever you do. So anyway, so we always give that out also on
Awesome.
it, so that you want to keep people, give people ways to engage with you.
Mhm.
And you want to make sure that you put it in the group, and you also want to put it in the master group, so that I get stuff a long time after, which when people are actually going through, they're saved the chat, and they'll see, oh, I can now take advantage of this.
Yeah.
So as long as it's on record in that chat, people can actually take advantage of it. So I address more about how you can maximize it among the other things you should be doing. Volunteer to take charge of one of those groups, those breakout rooms, because people really respect the people who step up. And if there's ever a void, I'm going to step right in. I'm going to take it over. And here's a really good, simple way to kind of organize it. Organize it by first name alpha. Don't wait for people to hold up their hand and you lose time. You say, okay, Amy, you're first, Beth, you're second, and it makes it move fast, and you get to be the hero. So there's just lots of things that I speak from the point of the participant.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I know we both have gone to David Fagan's, quite a bit of David's JV masterminds, because I see you in there all the time as well. And I got put in one time in a room, and like everybody's like, "Well, who's the leader?" And I'm like, exactly what you said. So I stepped up to did it. Like I don't remember what I did, but I'm like, I'm gonna call on you. When I call on you, be ready. All right, and boom, and I just and it did. It moved the group faster, but like I kind of go there because I was looking to go like to be an attendee and learn. But every now and then they're going to need somebody to step up to be the leader, and you should be prepared to be the leader. And I love that you're sharing. This is things you should do just in case it happens to you.
Yeah, I hate doing the timing. I will step up to the leader at any point. I will step up to coordinate. I just ask somebody else to do the timing.
Yep, exactly. So, but I mean, it's so neat because I'm looking at like, well, how do I fix this from the organizer's perspective? And immediately you're going, well, I'm not helping the organizer. I'm going to help the person who shows up, and that's going to reflect back on you to make it look like, well, how did you learn to be so professional? You're not like this snake oil salesman in the group. How come? Well, I got this information sheet from Jackie Lapin when I went to Speakertunity, and that's how I learned to be more responsible in my groups. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
So, well, let me switch a little bit. All right, as we go along here, let's talk personal life. All right, through the pandemic, did you change some personal things in your life? Me, I got different exercise and stuff like that. Cut my hair personally, but did you do anything personally that went like, okay, now's the time to grow Jackie in my off time?
Well, I lost 40 pounds. That's not bad. But that was a good thing for me because frankly, for the first, I'm a lot older than most people think I am. Actually, that birthday I've been talking about, I'm going to be 70. And so as a result, I needed to get this off, but I also couldn't go out and do the grocery shopping because I was way too vulnerable. And I am so blessed to have this incredible man that works with me. And he's worked with me for 17 years. And God bless him. Jeff went out with my grocery list and brought me in my groceries for the entire year. And it kept me from stealing all those nice little things I do at the grocery store. So I really stayed on my program. And that was really helpful to me. So I could focus. I could just eat what was healthy for me. And really, that made a big difference. And so that was the biggest from a personal standpoint. And the other thing was, it was just more calming and restful to be home.
Yeah.
That was such, I read client books on the weekends much of the time for writing. So I can write those pitch letters, which I write that are kind of like my superpower to get people, podcasters to respond to our clients. But I had more time just to read fun books, watch more television, like I was streaming things, and relax as opposed to running around, having to be out on the road. That was really good for my mental and physical health. So,
yeah. I mean, I got more organized in my home life. It blows my mind when you're home. It's like, okay, I've worked from homes for years, but like when I travel to speak, but now I'm at home all the time. It's like so many different things I learned to refine in my world during the pandemic that now benefits my business, because now when I walk up to my office, I'm clear-headed about life. And when I leave the office, I'm clear-headed about business to go live my life. You know what I mean? And I think it took the pandemic for me to realize that, Jackie, to go, oh my gosh, you know, I'm not a young man either. I mean, I'm in my 50s now, and it's like, I'm not 25 years old anymore. I can't run around like a 25-year-old. I can't, drink 50 million sugary drinks and keep going. Life changes. And the pandemic kind of woke me up to all those things in my personal life that made my business life better. So it's interesting, that you had that too.
I think for most people, I mean, the isolation was challenging for a lot of people, but it gave more people more time to get in touch with themselves and to really figure out what was important to them.
Yeah. And one of my greatest growths in life was just before I started my speaking career. In 2000, it was 2005 to 7. I was kind of, homeless and living on couches. 2007 and 8, I had this time of like, okay, I'm alone. All right. And it was like that time to go and spend time alone to meditate and get ready to do things. And I think I learned that then. And then, as I get into my business, I learned to ignore that personal time. And then as this comes along, I learn it again. So it's almost like cycles in our world, and people will go, well, all the bad things. Well, I can name 2 good things came out of this for me.
Well, and for me, I love to travel all over the world, and especially Europe in historic cities. And I can't do that now. I mean, this has not been a good time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I finally said, and one of my closest girlfriends, her, Karen Strauss.
Yep.
Karen said, I got to get out of here. And I'm going, I do too. And so why not travel with, one of your best friends and my nephew dog, Izzy. So the 3 of us went on a road trip, and it was fun. And you know what we did? We did stay in a couple of hotels, but we stayed with friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in pods. So you were able to kind of contain, and accommodate for what was going on in the outside world, but you still had the ability to travel. We toured the Oregon and the Washington coastline and the Puget Sound and wet whale watching and, fun things that I probably wouldn't have done had I been able to escape to Europe, but I was doing it with 3 of my best friends in the whole world. I mean, what could be better than that?
Yeah, that's great. So, I found some of the people who are doing like joint big type things together, they're putting themselves in a bubble. So like if there's, I didn't know this, it's like, you know what I mean? Like you're like your rock stars who are putting on concerts right now, or your NBA players or NFL players, they're in a bubble. So like they basically put themselves, so they're all together. So they're not going out and touching everybody around them. And when they're done their game, they go back to their bubble of people. So they're not bringing anything in. Yeah. And they're still able to safely travel. And most people are like, oh man, they're irresponsible. Well, no, they're probably being more responsible about this than us. But anyway, I did take quite a few trips with my wife that we just drove in the car to visit different areas. The staying in hotels right now is different. Yeah. Because you can be there for 4 days and you're not getting your room cleaned. Yeah.
Yep. I discovered that.
Yeah. So like my wife is still traveling. She's opening up a store like in Tampa, Florida this week. And while she's down there in Tampa, she's been there for 14 days. And she's going to come home and say for 14 days, yes. And I basically had to go back down to the desk about 4 days in and say, hey, can I get a new set of towels? Yep. Interesting how that industry has changed. Well, moving forward, Jackie, where do you see some areas that you're going to be opening up, some new opportunities you're going to be opening up here in the next coming months or maybe in the coming year?
Well, I think we're officially launching Speakertunity Cities and Speakertunity Specialties now and through the next 3 months. That's going to be a real big focus for us. Next year, we're going to formally launch the Corporate Playbook training program. We've got several more design. Oh, and we do speaker one sheets for people. We design speaker one sheets and podcast introductory sheets. You pick from a template, you pick colors, and then you submit the information in a form that we specifically ask. You don't even have to think, what do I put in it? We tell you what to put in it, and we'll get that back to you. But we've got 2 other design programs on the board for speakers, and speaker handouts and book flyers and things like that. and slides. So that's going to be you can expect to see next year. We're going to expand more with Book for You virtual assistants, having them do more work for our clients. And we are also going to, as I think I mentioned, we're going to come up with a program where you can get calls for speakers and conferences and events. We'll have that resource for people, and maybe even a membership program. We're looking at that.
You're looking at it. Well, I'm
looking at that.
I mean, if I told you the stuff that I opened up my mind to in the past 5 years, that like 10 years ago, I was like, no, I'm never going to do that. And you open your mind to it as things progress, and you're like, wait a minute, this might be something my people need. Maybe I need to put that out.
So we've got big plans on where we're going, and we continue to do the radio podcast tours. So we are always continuing to do that. We welcome podcasters that want to have more guests. And we welcome authors and leaders that want to have more podcasts. So,
I remember early on in my blogging career, when I had just a blog, back before I think it was before I even had my first radio show on Blog Talk Radio, that I did this thing for an author that was putting out a book, and he was doing a blog tour. So basically, he had 14 bloggers, write a thing onto him, and then refer you to where he was going to be the next day on the tour. All we did was write a little blip about his book and then referred people to the next stage. And like, it was a great tag thing. And I assume that's probably what you're doing with the book tour, which up until the pandemic, I'd never heard of people doing a book tour on the podcasts. And I'm like, dude, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. We generally book anywhere between 30 and 60 interviews for a client over the course of 3 months. And we keep them busy.
That's good. That's good. So, and you, I mean, you have like different levels now that you've put it to, or is it like each individual going off each individual niche?
Well, what we do is if an author leader wants us to do everything, it's one pricing. But we also realized that wasn't affordable for everybody. Yeah. So we created another resource where it's interactive. They do part of the work. Yeah. And when they do it, it brings the price down, but they have to be willing to do it.
They have to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, we look to figure out when people say enough to us, I really love to do that, but that's too expensive. Okay, what's the next level? What can we give up and they take on that's going to be more affordable for them? And that's how we sorted that out.
Exactly. I love it. Well, that's just being in business.
And we have specialty lists. So we have our master lists. And then we add in, if you got a business book, or you got a relationship book, or you're African American, or you have a book that has to do with women's empowerment, whatever it is, women's business, we'll add in the specialty lists so that it specifically also addresses that particular marketplace.
Cool. So I want to make sure people, pardon me, I got to go get more cough drops. I want to make sure people get a hold of you, though, Jackie. What is the best thing to get a hold of you? And are you offering them anything, any special deals today?
Well, the easiest way to get a hold of me is Jackie at Speakertunity, which is pretty simple and easy to do. Yeah. And I do have something that's really fun. So now let's say that you want to get out there and get on speaking gigs, and you don't know what to write in the proposal letter to get you booked. So I've got something called 12 things to say in your speaker proposal letter that will get you booked. And you can grab it right here at speakertunity.com/proposal. So all of those, I told you exactly what to say in that proposal letter. Those individual lines will help that booker say, you're perfect for us.
That is awesome that you put that down for him. So I love it. And I love that you got to come back and hang out with me again. As always, you're always welcome back on our show. You know that.
Thank you. I so love it, Tim. And my heart is connected to you. And I love the fact that we get to play together a couple times a year.
I know it is good. And like I said, it took the pandemic for us finally to be able to talk. But anyway, before you go, though, I have a new game. But you're going to play my game, right?
Yes, of course.
All right, so here's the new game. The new game is I have 7 envelopes, numbers 1 through 7, and each envelope is 3 questions that I will ask you. You get to pick 3 envelopes, and I will pull from them.
3?
3. 1 through 7 are the numbers. 3.
Okay, so number 3.
Number 3. Let me pull that one out and put it down first. Oh, man, I really messed up. Like all my numbers are mixed up. I got to find 3. There it is.
5.
5. I used to have them in order, and Timmy messed this up because he was doing something when I put these in today. I don't know which questions are in which envelope because I have them put in behind it.
Number 1.
Number 1. So we relax these over here, and we get to open up. Now, this way, you may get guy questions. And it's interesting when the girl gets the guy questions or the guy gets the girl questions. So let's find out with this one here. Ooh. Who is the better quarterback in the NFL? And question number 1, Joe Montana or Tom Brady?
Joe Montana. He's from my era. He drove in my pro celebrity race years ago.
Oh, wait. You're from Pennsylvania originally, aren't you?
No, I'm from LA.
You're from LA. Okay. I know Joe Montana is originally from Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania. So yeah. Which is scarier to you, snakes or spiders?
Oh, snakes.
Snakes. I hate snakes too. I can't take snakes.
We have rattlesnakes up here. It gets scary.
Mm-hmm. The snakes is the one thing and I remember when I was doing home theaters and I had to crawl under somebody's house one time, and I hear my partner upstairs telling the homeowner, if he finds a snake down there, he's coming up right through the floor where he's at. I'm going to let you know that right now. I'm just that way about snakes. Yeah, not me. Yeah. Question number 3 in this quiz is, when you're putting papers together in your office, do you use staples, or paper clips?
Staples.
Yeah, me too. I don't think I own a box of staple or paper clips anymore.
Depending on what it is, but mostly if I'm going to keep it, it's staples.
Yeah, mine are all. Wait a minute. This is my operations manual, and it's stapled. Next one was number 5, and our questions inside envelope number 5 is. Oh, I love this one. This is my favorite question of all of them to ask. Who was the better lead singer in Van Halen, Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth?
I didn't listen to them. Sorry. What can I tell you?
Friends, Jackie.
I'm sorry. Hey, I worked with Eddie Van Halen, but is that
we know he's the greatest guitarist of all time. There's nobody to put in second place next to him. But anyway,
I didn't listen to metal rock.
Oh, that's my favorite band, by the way, is Van
Sorry,
Halen. That's why I had that question in there, and it is a dividing question. It's one of the reasons why I picked these questions. Some of them are dividing. The next one was my favorite one. I think knew my friend Andy Sokol, who passed away last month. Andy and I used to always debate this one, and that was, which is the better coffee, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Starbucks.
Yeah, I agree. So, I'm looking at our comments. Oh, hey, Nancy Matthews is here. She's a paper clip girl.
Hi, Nance.
Yeah. So Nancy's a paper clip girl. And the number 3 in this one here, this envelope number 5 is, which do you prefer, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh. That's hard. Probably Star Wars.
Even though William Shatner went into space first? Oh, no.
But I still was a Trekkie. I have to say, I will forever remember the Tribbles.
Yeah. So, I just think it's interesting that, the one person out of all of those space type things that really now has gone into space is William Shatner from Star Trek. Anyway,
I thought it was one of the best publicity stunts I have ever seen.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And all the signs you see coming up, where they have him holding signs and people are writing on it, beat that, Picard, or that is the best way to make publicity, ladies and gentlemen. Last envelope number 1 you chose. We have 3 questions in here. Oh, goody. I think you answered this one before when you were on my show, but the toilet paper, does it go over or under at your house?
It goes over.
Yep. The next question in here, number 2 in this one here, is beer or wine?
Oh, neither one. Liqueurs.
Jackie, have I gotten you to try my moonshine yet?
No, I haven't, love.
Tim's showing it during the pandemic. I just showed it. I'm starting a new podcast with another lady, and she's in Oregon, and we both found we loved alcohol. So we're doing like an alcohol tasting and food pairing podcast.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's like the two of us thought up the idea, and like we were at a live mastermind event and thought it up in 3 seconds. I'm like, you want to do that? She goes, yeah, I'll do that with you. And like, idea born, we're doing it. Yeah.
Love it. Well, my drink of choice is amaretto.
Oh yeah. Amaretto, a nice cappuccino maybe with it. Yeah. All right. The last question I get to ask you, Jackie, is Superman or Batman?
Oh, I hate to be contrary, but I like Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. What can I?
When I think of Wonder Woman, I think of what was her name in the 70s? Linda Carter.
Linda Carter, yeah.
That's Wonder Woman to me. To me, Christopher Reeve is always Superman, and Michael Keaton is Batman.
He was such a nice man. Both of them lovely men. I did the Toyota Pro Celebrity Race, the publicity for the Toyota Pro Celebrity Race for 15 years. And that's where I met Montana and Eddie Van Halen and both of those two guys. So I'm fortunate to have met all of them and really had an opportunity to be blessed by the good men that they were.
Although, yeah, I am so blessed by the ones.
I have to take that out on Eddie. He was a little bit of a handful.
Eddie, I loved Eddie Van Halen. By the way, as you can tell, I loved Eddie Van Halen. A huge fan of Van Halen and everything growing up. And Eddie was always, it was always good to see what Eddie was doing on the guitar. But I know Eddie had some demons that he had to live with in life, and that kind of hurt him and cursed him. And seeing what his son is doing now is just blowing my mind in the music industry. It's just blowing my mind. His son's just is not like, let me copy dad, but let me step out into my own light now.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he learned that from his dad. So anyway. Well, Jackie, one more time, tell them the website they can get that free gift from you. All right. And I want to make sure they connect.
Great. So come visit us at speakertunity.com for just review, see what fits for you. And if you got questions, reach out to me at Jackie at speakertunity.com. And then come take advantage of those 12 things that you need to say in your proposal letter at speakertunity.com/proposal. We love to be of service to help you and to speed you on your way to more stages faster so you can make more money, change more lives, and have more impact.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with me and help my people. And I really do appreciate that. So,
thanks, sweetheart. It's always fun to hang out with you.
Cool. To the guests, I want to say thanks to you for being on today's show. All right. And listening in, go to speakertunity.com/proposal and get that special gift from Jackie today. I will be back with another guest real soon. In the meantime, guys, have a great day. Be good.